Today I'm going to talk about the stages of clay. There is workable clay, leather hard clay, bone dry, first fire, and glaze fire. So, first stage is workable clay. When you're working with your clay, it should be very easy to mush in your hands, but it should not be sticking to your hands. So if it's sticking to your hands, that means that you have too much water on it. When I give you clay, it should be good to go. You do not need to add water to your clay when I first give it to you. Okay, so workable clay is very easy to mush. If you find your hands getting tired, you need to add some more water into your clay. If it's hard to mush with your hands, then you need to add more water. Okay, the second stage of clay is leather hard. So in the video before, when I was working with slabs, I cut these out. They had been drying out for maybe 30 minutes or so, and now the difference is this clay will hold its shape, whereas let's say I had made a shape like that out of workable clay. When I hold it up, it's going to flop over and not keep its shape. So the good thing about leather hard is this is a good time to piece objects together like this. So let's say you wanted to make a stand for something like that, you could. So I'll show you how. To piece these together, what you're going to do is you're going to scratch into the leather hard clay. Right, you would add slurry, which is just watered down clay. It's really mushy clay. And that acts as the glue. And that is called scoring and slipping those objects together. Okay, and that's what you would want to do with leather hard clay. Leather hard clay is also a good time to draw inside of your clay, draw designs. So it's a good time to draw in your clay, to smooth out any rough edges, and to piece things together. This is also leather hard to 6, so now it's not flopping around. I could also attach that if I wanted to. Now, there we go. But again, to attach, you would have to score and slip, which just means scratch and glue. All right, the next stage is bone dry. Bone dry is when your clay no longer has any water in it. Your clay has to get to this stage in order to go into the kiln. Any water left inside of clay, so let's say I put this workable clay into the kiln, it is going to get very hot very fast, and all that water inside of here is going to evaporate very quickly, which is going to cause this clay to explode. So you have to let your clay get to bone dry before it can go in the kiln. As far as working with bone dry clay, you would not want to work with it very much at all, because this is the most fragile point that it can be at. This breaks very easily. Also, you would not want to try to attach things when they're at bone dry, because there is no longer any water in the clay, and that is in part what holds the two pieces together. So, really the only thing you would want to do with bone dry clay is leave it alone for the most part, because like I said, it is very fragile. It breaks very easily. All right. The next would be, once your project has dried out and gotten to bone dry, I would put it in the kiln, which gets anywhere between 500 to 5,000 degrees. So very hot. So I put this in the kiln and it comes out like this. Very extremely hard. This is now like a coffee mug. Alright? You can no longer work on this anymore. It's not movable, and this will no longer go back to workable clay. Up until the bone dry stage, you can add water. So I could add water back into bone dry, and I can make it go through any of these stages again. It's just an never-ending cycle. Okay, so once your clay has gotten to bone dry, and then I put it in the kiln, this would be called your first fire. After the first fire, you would then glaze your project. Now, one thing about glaze is when you paint this on your project, it is not going to appear the color that it's going to be. Red may turn to yellow, yellow may turn to red. So you have to look at the bottle that you're painting with to know what color is going to come out. So after this stage, you would put it in the kiln once more, and it would come out of the kiln, a finished project. Your colors will be brighter, and they will have a glass-like texture on them. All right. When you do glaze your project, it's very important that you cover all and that you put at least 3 coats. You can see here on this project that in some areas the white is showing through, and you wouldn't be able to tell that here. You just have to keep track of that you have 3 coats on there. Otherwise it looks really bad once it comes out of the kiln. But this is the final stage of clay. So just as a review of these, in a summary, you have workable clay that you can squeeze easily in your hand. You have weather hard clay, which is set out for about 30 minutes to an hour. You can still smooth this clay out very easily. However, it keeps its form, it keeps its shape. You have bone dry clay, which is extremely fragile, can be broken very easily. You don't need to work with your clay at this stage, and it is ready to go in the kiln. You have first fire, which is clay that has been in the kiln once and is now extremely strong. You have glazed clay, and then you have your glazed fire clay, which has came out of the kiln and is ready to go home. It's good to go.